Did you know that for this movie, James Cameron claimed he deliberately set a goal for Avatar Way of Water and Avatar Fire and Ash to have a complete two-film story arc, in spite of his plans for a five-movie saga, just in case no further movies were made. So I saw Avatar Fire and Ash with a really good friend of mine, Jake. Packed theater. It was just a great atmosphere. I didn't have an extremely high bar for this movie. I just knew that I knew what I was looking for. I was looking for a little bit different story, not recycling the same old things we've seen in the past two movies. I wanted something a little different. I wanted to see what James Cameron can do story-wise because I knew the graphics would be out of this world, and they really were. They were extraordinarily beautiful. And I do have to say, I was actually pretty happy with a lot of the storylines and the story arcs that happened in this movie. First, I'm going to tell you everything I liked. There's a couple things I didn't like, but I will save those for the end of my review. So the first thing I liked, and I think the strongest part of this movie, was how it really leaned strongly into dealing with grief and hate. Mainly grief. It takes place right after the events of Way of Water. Jake and Neytiri are still mourning the loss of their son Tatum. Laok is really going through it. He's feeling a lot of guilt, and he feels like no support from his family. But really the thing is, like, you get to see how each character is dealing with the loss of a family member. Of course, I would expect most of these characters to act this way. Like Jake, he feels it, he's grieving, but at the same time, the Marine in him is telling him he's got to man up. He's got to be the provider and protector of his family. He knew he failed, so he has to do things to make up for him failing. Neytiri, I've never seen Neytiri this broken before. I think Zoe Saldaña did a phenomenal job just really capturing a mother grieving the loss of her kid. Like, she was just such a different Neytiri than we're used to. And then Laok, mourning loss of his brother, and he's blaming himself. He's trying to find redemption somehow, and he needs somebody to love him. Simple as that, right? And listen to him, love him, encourage him, support him. Really, the only one who was helping him at all, who was supporting him at all, was Kiri and his girlfriend. I forget what her name is, but they were the only two people supporting him at all. Nobody else honestly cared about him. I mean, it was a rough path for him to go through, but really loved seeing that. That was such a good part. And then, second thing I liked, the storylines that I was hoping to see in this one. So I rewatched The Way of Water a few days ago because I couldn't remember some things that happened. Kiri and Spider, I actually really loved their storylines in this last movie. So I was really hoping we would get some really good arcs, some good focus on both of them. And I gotta say, I was very, very happy with both characters, how they were treated. Kiri, it was kind of funny, but she was given basically like the Skywalker card. Like, she could play the Skywalker card because we found out something pretty neat, but I think we kind of all figured it out pretty early on, how special she really is. And then Spider's always been a great character. I've always liked him. Definitely a kid torn between two worlds and never really seemed to fit in anywhere. And then with Courage coming in and actually like caring for him, gave Spider a chance to maybe think he could have a normal life and actually have a real father. But then he's got to deal with Neytiri, who hates him because he's a human, and just it reminds her of all the bad things humans did to her. Spider was in a very, very vulnerable position, very, very bad place for him to be in. I don't want to go into too much detail because some of it is important and not really spoilers, but I'd rather just have you guys enjoy it. That was another big check mark for me. James Cameron delivered on that as well. And then, third thing, one of my favorite characters in this movie that just really blew me away was Varang. Now, if you want to really simplify it, she's a witch. But Oona Chaplin, I've never heard of her. This is probably her first big role. I don't know if she's been in anything else, but Oona Chaplin, man, like, she just, like, had a way of almost putting you in a trance. Like, that's how I would view her. Like, there's something about her. She has this aura about her that you can't look away. Like, she's good at bringing you in. I mean, the design team did a great job making her look beautiful. She really truly was beautiful, sexy. I mean, they knew what they were doing. Like, they knew what they wanted to get out of this character of Varang, that she's that temptress, the evil lady, but at the same time, like, there's something she can offer you. Like, she could suck your soul out. Like, that's what they were going with Varang and Oona. Hats off to her. Absolutely amazing job. Easily my favorite character of the movie. You know, what does the future hold for her? What does it hold for her and Courage? Not on my bingo card at all, but them as a couple actually really works. They're both strong leaders. They're both know what they want. They're laser focused individuals. They can command people's attention, and they don't care about who they hurt to get what they want. They have the same spark and fire and energy and passion. They're both very bad people, but as I've always been told, it's a person for everybody. And apparently, Courage is now hooking up with a Na'vi, who, ironically, he was sent to kill all the Na'vi, and now he's in a relationship with one. And they are definitely soulmates. So, very, not what I was, did not see that coming. And now, going into things I didn't like, this is probably a very common thing people didn't like, but I felt like it was too long. This was the longest Avatar movie. I felt like it dragged a little bit in the battle scene. I can't think of any other specific parts, because for the most part, to me, it actually moved along quite well. And then we got to the battle scenes. I felt like it took a little too long to kind of move on past certain aspects of the battle. Like, we're dragging. I think this movie cut out like 20 minutes or so, 25 minutes or so out of the battle scene. It would be a tighter film. It'd be stronger. But I don't know why. I don't know. James is trying to do something different, wanting to try to set another record for himself to reach. James is the craziest director I've ever seen. Like, he gambles so much on these movies, and I have to respect it. And then this is just a personal preference of mine, but we get to see Eywa big time in action. For those of you who don't know, the word Eywa is a transposed version of the word Yahweh, which is Hebrew for God. But in this case, God is a female. And what I don't really like how Eywa was portrayed, because if Eywa was supposed to be God, this is how people might view God, is a very passive individual. Like, basically in the movie, they are literally on death's doorstep, begging and begging and begging and begging for Eywa to do something, and Eywa is just stepping back, not doing anything, shutting everybody out, turning her back away from everybody. Like I said, very passive. God is not passive. You know, depending on what you believe, but what I believe is God is not passive. God is very direct. He gives us everything we need way beforehand. And even while we're going through something, he gives us what we need right then. He doesn't give us it at the very last second, letting us just fend for ourselves. So, like I said, personal preference, but not really a God I would want to worship, to be honest. But with all that being said, I still highly recommend go out and see Avatar Fire and Ash, because it really is good. We are 3 Avatar movies in. We have 2 left. You know, Avatar 4 and 5 are scheduled 2029 and 2031. But we'll see if it actually happens, because of what I've heard is James isn't going to go ahead and start filming anything until he sees that Fire and Ash has made a profit, which for this movie to make a profit, it's probably got to reach about 2 billion, 2.1 billion to make a profit. But if it makes a profit, then he's going to go ahead and start filming, because as far as I know, no filming has happened yet. I really am hoping, I'm cheering this movie on. I do want to see Avatar 4 and 5 just to see what happens, because I really think they're running out of material. But at the same time, I never underestimated James when it comes to creating something amazing. So I highly recommend go out and see Avatar Fire and Ash as soon as you possibly can. So for Avatar Fire and Ash, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10 Mudflaps. And remember, leave me a thumbs up and drop in the comments below. Do you think Avatar 3 will be a financial success? See you soon.